Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the Jules and Matt Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and every week we go out into the world and watch a little bit of anime, and then we come back here and talk about it. And this week we are talking about episode 5 through 8 of Overlord, the anime Overlord, and I'm not going into this new world alone. I'm here with my co-host, Matt Galley. Matt, how was your week?
My week was good. Sorry that we're late because my internet was getting throttled, but yeah, ready to ready to talk about
Throttle
more
me
anime.
next.
I was I'm really enjoying the everything that's getting set up in this show. I know that there's quite a couple more seasons, quite a few more seasons
Yeah.
after the first, and if it's more of this, then I'm on board like all the way.
With a few animes that we've already done, and if this is your first time watching, hello, welcome. We do this show live on Twitch and then we post it on YouTube or Spotify later. But we've watched quite a few animes already, and here are some of the animes that we've done. This is how we rated them. Jules on me on the left, Matt on the right. But I'm in this cool place where I've gotten to with some other animes like Dimension W or Black Clover, where I'm mainly just watching it for enjoyment, and it's not like some of them, not going to mention which one, some of them I'm like, oh, I have to watch this many episodes next for this week, whatever. But this one I'm really like okay, I'm ready to watch the next one. I'm coming in there with a good vibe and a good head on my shoulders when I'm actually sitting down to watch these, and I'm like, all right, what's the next one? Let's go, let's keep going. So this is a good sign for an anime
Mhm.
where I'm like, okay, I'm down to keep going, and let's go. We had some YouTube comments, and one really good comment from Saga Samaris on YouTube, and they commented on our very first episode of Overlord, reviewing episode 1 through 4 of the show. And I just want to touch on it a little bit because they can provide more context for us anime watchers that didn't read the manga, and without giving any like spoilers or anything. So I kind of want to, I'm going to read through this pretty quickly, but shout out to Saga Samaris. Thank you so much for all the information. And this really helps out a lot. Whenever like I know in an anime, they can only fit so much from the
Mhm.
manga,
Mhm.
and this helps out a whole lot. Saga says, hi guys, I will try to give some more context to this 4 episodes, trying to avoid spoilers by picking what the anime left out from the source material. Mamanga, aka Suzuki Satoru, comes from a version of our world where in 2126 the planet is extremely polluted. The air, the sky is so much more polluted than that nor him or his guildmates had ever seen a clean night sky. That's why he is so amazed at looking at the night sky in the episode 2, and it is also why the amphitheater at the 6th floor has a night sky designed by a guild member named Blue Planet, a nature lover guy that played Yggdrasil just for experiencing scenery that are not even possible to observe on Earth. See, that's a whole other part of the story that
That
we don't
and
get.
that's a whole nother part of the story we don't get, and there are real life parallels there with people and let's say something like Final Fantasy 14 that go into the
Oh,
game
for
and then
sure.
just use camera mode and just are taking pictures and just, like experiencing the environments of a non-Earth
Yeah.
like world.
It's so cool. He goes on, or they go on to say, Mamanga obviously sees some part of his old friends of the guild on the NPC, since he is just only he know who not only he knows who created each one, but they seem to have caught part of their character of the creator, like how Shaltir and Aura have a similar relation to Boku Boku Shagama and Peroncino. Sorry.
Mhm.
In Seba's case, it is even more accentuated since it was physically designed to resemble Touch Me in real life, and is mentioned in a recap movie that Sebas is not human, but they will not spoil the actual race. Talking about Touch Me, his nickname is not based on bad taste, but was a taunt like Touch Me If You Can, since Touch Me was the best PvPer of the server world they were in. That's totally lost on me when I watched
Mhm.
the first 4 episodes. I was like, oh, he's a normal, like a
Yeah.
normal gamer, like being silly.
Making funny names. But
Yeah.
no, it's and that even goes into the story of how he and Momonga meet because he saved Momonga from a group of like human um PvPers or whatever that were
Yeah.
about to like kill Momonga's character.
And then they leave because he is the best, or yeah, he defeats him or whatever
Hmm.
because he is the best PvPer. Touch Me if you can, since Touch Me was the best PvPer of the server. As you may have suspected, by Touch Me saving Momonga back in the day of Yggdrasil, Momonga wasn't the guild leader at the time, but it was Touch Me. Under Momonga's guidance, the guild was reformed and became one of the top 10 of the server. Actually, there's only one NPC in Nazarick that is human, but it'll be just briefly mentioned on the anime for never be mentioned again. So none of these people are human. They are some other race. I'm sure we'll find out. I think they'll be all out for now. I try to avoid any kind of spoiler from the anime while giving some curiosity and context about the series. I hope you will appreciate it. We do appreciate it. Thank you so
No,
much.
yeah, that's all. That's one of the most interesting parts of adaptation is seeing those involved and what bits they have to keep for the story that they're deciding to tell and what bits that they decide to leave out, because there's a lot that adds there contextually. There are certain lines that just they have so much more weight given that context, for sure.
Yeah, like him being fixated on the sky.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool. I mean, it's like, oh, he likes all the stars because it's a fantasy world, but it means so much more because his world didn't have that. And it's like, whoa, that's so cool. But we got to get into it. We got to get going talking about 5 through 8 of Overlord. Episode 5, Two Venturers. What happened in episode 5?
In the capital city of Irantel, Ainz disguises himself under the name Momon and Nabril Gamma as Nabe to join the Adventurers Guild in order to continue to gather information about the world. A small scuffle leads to Ainz passing off a red potion to smooth over tensions. And due to his overwhelming stature and magnificent plate armor, while attempting to get a quest, he draws the attention of another adventuring group, the Swords of Darkness, who offer him to join their group. Ainz is only a copper plate rank in the guild, so he is enticed by the offer of a group higher in rank than him. Just as they all make introductions and begin to head out, another party makes themselves known. Nefiria Baliar, a pharmacist who works with his grandmother. He puts in a request seeking Ainz as a bodyguard specifically. And Ainz hears him out and decides that if the Swords of Darkness can join him as well, then he will take him up on his offer. With our foes from the slain theocracy taken care of for the time being, the show switches focus to two new antagonists plotting in the outskirts of the city. Their plan? To use a stolen crown of wisdom and Nefiria, who is also a talent holder who can use any magic item. In combination with these two, they plan to summon an army of the undead.
That was episode 5.
Episode 5. New episode 4 kind of came to close with this little why am I forgetting the name? Carne Village arc, and so now we just get dropped right into Irantel, the capital city of one of the countries.
And this was more of a relaxing episode, not like a relaxing, like it was more
meanders.
Relaxed. It was a little meandering, yeah, where I felt like it could have lost me here if it kept going like this and it didn't give me some good setup. I would have been like, okay, this is kind of what's happening here. They had me in the first 4, not gonna lie, but hello, Drew. We're talking about Overlord. I think this was yours. I think this was your suggestion.
I'm pretty sure.
Thank you. But we're talking about episode 5. So it was kind of meandering, and I was like, okay, cool. But then we get introduced to some really cool characters. We get introduced to the whole group. Was this the episode where they do some back and forth at the table, right? They introduce everybody. They all introduce him to Momonga.
We get Peter Mauk, if I'm saying that right. Peter Mauk. We get Luke Root Volve, Dine Woodwonder, and then Nina. And then we also get Nefiria Baliar, this pharmacist. And then we also get Miss Clementine and Kaj. Like, that's a whole nother, just like in episode 1, where it's just like, boom, boom, Guardian. And then it took the time to kind of play some stuff out with those characters. In episode 5, we're getting boom, 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 boom. Here's some new characters. Now it's going to take some time to play it out.
Yeah, and what I was getting at was it was meandering, but I didn't feel like it was
Lost.
bad. Like, yeah, I didn't feel like,
It didn't feel like a shopping episode, even though
no,
this was the first time in the big city.
yes, they weren't shopping around, but they were shopping around for adventurers.
Yes,
What do
for
you think about
information.
this? Yeah, what do you think about this idea? Because Mamunga break, breaks it down, and to him it makes sense. Where he is like, I want to climb the ranks to get more jobs, to get more information about everything, and to also be undercover and not have his real name there. Does that make sense? I felt a little confusing about his goal, about why he would want to climb the. But then I was like, he's a gamer, so that's what he's used to, climbing the ranks from copper to the top, and then getting more jobs to get more information. That seems like a gamer's way to move
Mhm.
if you think you're in a gaming world. But like,
Yes.
I don't know. Could there? All I'm saying
I
is,
mean,
could
but,
there have been
like,
a better
that's
way to do it?
I think that goes to the bit of him, like, just pulling anything off the wall because he can't read and Nabe can't read. We forgot to
True.
touch on
Forgot
that.
about
Like,
that.
neither of them can read in this world, so that's another just big limiting factor for them. So he just grabs the first post off the wall and slams it on the counter. "I'll take this job." And they're like, "I'm sorry, you're not high rank enough for that." And he's like, "Nope, give it to me. I will take it. I'll stake my life on it, whatever." And they're just like, "I'm sorry, sir, but that's not our policy." And so he's just like, "All right, give me the hardest job you can give me." She's like, "Oh, okay, be right back."
Yeah. And then
So
he got it.
and then
So,
he gets it, yeah.
so that was
So
like a smart way to do it. Like, I was
yes.
like, oh,
Yeah.
and he even
It
mentioned it. Yeah.
given that he can't read and that even Nabe can't read, yeah, I think that it is a realistic way of it playing out for sure.
All I'm saying is, I don't know. Maybe I would have done it differently. I mean, he's so powerful, but
Yeah.
then he doesn't know how powerful he is,
He
though.
doesn't know how powerful he is, and that's also a part of the reason why he does accept being with a group is because he's going to use them to build rapport with everything else, because then it becomes the, oh, not me saying I can slay an ogre with one swipe. It's, oh, that renowned group of adventurers, silver ranks, they are vouching that this guy downed 5 ogres with one swipe.
Mhm.
Like, that's two whole different things going on there.
So we get the Swords of Darkness group. We get a lot of information about some of what they can do, what their specialty is, but then we also get more information about Balar, that they can use any magic item,
Hmm.
and that's the way they were born with, or
Yes,
something. Yeah.
they're talent holder. Talent holders are born with special powers that set them apart from everybody
Mhm.
else. So Beliar was born with the talent to use any magic item, and even in this group, the Swords of Darkness, Nina is a talent holder as well, and their talent allows them to learn magic at a excelled rate. Basically, learn magic
Mhm.
as 2 times fast. If it would
Sure.
normally take somebody 8 years, Nina can learn it in 4, which kind of sounds wild. Is
Yeah,
that like, that's
that there are
10
special
years
people like that.
5, 20 years 10, 50 years 25. Like, that's just, yeah.
At the end, when I thought it was going to be all nice and fine, at the end we get a look at Kaj and Clementine, and they
Hmm.
produce some urgency here, which is really good, because I needed some urgency after that. I thought
Yep.
it was just going to be the episode, the end, and be like, boom, okay, cool. But they produce some urgency about the Crown of Wisdom. It's a powerful item, and Clementine wants to get Baylor to use the Crown of Wisdom because nobody else can, but they can use any magical item. So they brought in the thing. They brought in, hey, this person can use any magical item, and then within the episode, they're like, hey, here's
Yeah.
the bad guys that know this and are going to use him or try and
And
get him.
I like the way it's set up, where when Ainz hears about this person, Nefiria Beliar, oh, they can use any magic item. Him and Nabe are both like, oh, this person sounds super dangerous. But then he shows up and it's just some pharmacist
Yeah,
and, like, non-threatening. We do know that he probably has ulterior motives because we see the scene beforehand of him interacting with his grandmother and them appraising the red potion, and we find
yeah,
out that the red potion he passed off to smooth things over was actually like a rare potion that typical manufacturing just can't produce in this world.
Am
It's
I wrong
they
to
relate it to a potion of like God's blood.
yeah, am I wrong to believe that they never seen something like that, or they
Yeah,
may have
they've
seen it
never seen a
once?
red potion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only like legends speak of a potion so powerful that it looks of God's blood.
I told you, man, he's giving away too many of his items, and I knew it was gonna come back
Yeah,
and bite him in the butt because it does
yeah,
come back and
it
bite him
does.
later on as well. But yeah, that was episode 5. We got some good direction here, and it kind of leads into all the stuff that's happening in these 4 episodes. So episode 6, Journey. What happens in episode 6?
In episode 6, on the road to gather herbs for Neferia, Ainz continues to learn more and more about this world from his new adventuring party. Luke Root's flirtatious comments towards Nabe cause her to overreact and almost break their cover, and suddenly a horde of ogres and goblins appear on the horizon. The Swords of Darkness display their ability to work in sync with each other to overcome challenges. However, Ainz strolls forward and begins to down ogres effortlessly with single strikes, Nabe following behind, doing the same with a more magical flair. After looting the bodies, the group sets up camp for the night, and storied pasts are shared around the fire pit, with one stray comment getting under the bones of Ainz, him removing himself from the group and spending the rest of the night off to the side with Nabe. Behind the scenes, Kaj and Clementine continue to execute their plan to undermine the city. And we get to see this part of Clementine with her and Kaj, they're on, we get to see somewhat of a little bit of a, I don't know, rocky ground with each other.
They're fighting the same. They have the same goal, but they're not together.
Yeah.
They have a similar goal. Well, I guess Clementine's more of just chaos, I guess.
Yeah.
But they are not eye to eye,
Yeah.
and we see that they are. I mean, as most like evil people together, they want their own little plan, or they want to be
Exactly.
the only person. So it makes sense.
He's
In a
more
silly
of
way.
a like neutral, or why am I forgetting spectrum? Evil, but yeah, there's chaotic and the other side. I forget in D&D right now.
Neutral, chaotic, and lawful.
Lawful. He's
Yeah.
more of a lawful evil,
Yeah.
and she's more of a chaotic evil. That's
Yeah.
all I was trying to say. I forgot lawful. Fuck lawful.
The little square. But this is a good action part. There's some really cool scenes. We see him actually flex because again, Momonga says that all of his power mostly is with magic or different types of magic, and he is like, well, for this I'm gonna have to use my sword, and it's like really cool, kind of like him picking up a different job but him still being super high level, so his job is still high level. That's like me, I don't know, in Final Fantasy 14 I'm like level 80 or whatever, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna start what is it, red mage, but it starts at level 50 still, and it's like, oh, okay, that's fine. I'm still level 50.
Still
So
level 50.
it's kind of, that's kind of like what he is right there, where he's like, I'm gonna use my swords, but I'm still hacking and slashing one time.
Exactly.
Down that rabbit hole of Overlord we go. Yes, we're watching Overlord. We're talking about episode 6 right now. Hello, Bubsy. Hi. Dropped in to say hi. Still at work. Okay.
Hello.
Have fun. This was a cool episode. I just really like it. I love
Nabe.
Yeah, Nabe's so cool. We get a lot of information about their abilities. We see them like fighting and stuff, and then we get like the whole little reprieve after the battle. Like this is just one little adventure, and I'm sure these characters, the Swords of Darkness, have gone through them quite a bit, and they're like so together. I love that.
I love and hate this episode because of that.
I know, because of what's coming up later.
Yeah.
Because I'm so mad about what's going up later. But like them fighting together,
Yeah.
and having each other's back, and then afterwards they're all together. And then the way they comfort Baylor. I think this was the episode, right, where Baylor talks about his love interest, or their love interest.
What's she like? Oh, if you're persistent or your feelings will get through, blah 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 blah. They're
And
just like
like,
all enamored by it.
yeah, maybe that's not the best advice, but like I like them trying to comfort Baylor and trying to bring them into the group. And this seems like such a cool adventuring party to be with. Like
You
friends to be
really
with.
it's a cool adventuring party, and you really get to see the tropes in full effect of like Peter being the strong vocal party voice, and in
Sure.
that capacity he's also like the person who rushes into battle first to fight Luke
Yeah.
Root Volve, who's this like sly flirtatious guy, but he's the ears and the eyes. So
Yeah.
he's always staying vigilant as to what's going on. Right after the flirt, he knew that the enemies were approaching. He was still doing his job. um Wood Wonder as this like wise druid, the healer, the party healer, but
Hmm.
he doesn't say a lot, but every time he spoke I was like, he is just hitting with his lines. He doesn't say a lot, but his words carry
Yeah.
a lot of weight, which is
Yeah.
exactly what a wise person does.
Hmm.
Nina, the intelligent brains of the group, the spellcaster, the wizard, um not the most uh statuesque person in the group,
Sure.
but is going to be there to protect everybody with their spell casting.
And I love the way,
And you see
um
that all play out in like a moment.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I love the way that it was all just here are the directions, here's whatever. I like the thing where they were like Nina, I think it was to Nina, they're like, do this, but then follow the flow of battle. And it's
Yep.
like that's how it would be in like a boss battle if you
Hmm.
were, you know what I mean? If you were to do that, it's like, hey, start off with these attacks, but then you just gotta go with it, man.
Hmm.
So the cool, plotting to fight was so cool. I just love these characters. I didn't think I would. When they first introduced them, they were like, "Here's
Yeah.
so and so," and I was like, "Okay, they may be annoying, but the way they played out, I really liked, and I
Hmm.
really liked how they're just so together. They're just so together on everything. Um, Sad memories, man. I don't know. Okay, we're gonna get to it, but they
Yeah.
also mentioned in this one that there's the wise king of the forest.
Yes,
That they're
that's
gonna go.
it's almost treated like a throwaway line, but it is like the one thing we get out of like the opening before the OP. So it's to be taken like as information for sure.
Yeah, and that gets into what Kaj is actually trying to do, I guess. He's trying to do the spiral of death and create a whole city into the undead.
Hmm.
Um, there was also a question. Somebody had mentioned creation magic. Somebody, I forgot who in this episode. I don't know why I wrote it down. Creation magic. Somebody said they can create salt and vinegar. That one of them had
Oh yeah.
small creation magic, and I was like, that's kind of a big deal if they can
Hmm.
create food
Hmm.
from nothing. And I
I
was like,
remember I remember that being a line, but I forgot
so I
exactly
don't know
where
if
it
that's
was. But
gonna.
it was in this episode.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna come up later, but there is creation magic, which could be a thing. Episode 7, Wise King of the Forest. We go on with the story and what goes on in episode 7.
So in episode 7, Ainz and his group arrive at their destination, Carne Village. However, it looks a bit different this time. A wall surrounding and goblins ready to defend the village. The group makes their way in. Neferia talks to Enri and concludes that Mr. Momon, who that's the disguised name that Ainz has
Sure.
been going under. Mr. Momon is actually Ainz Ul Gaun, the one that saved the village. Ainz it is off to the side, admiring the villagers for taking up arms and learning how to defend themselves in the events more raids would happen in the future. And Neferia and Ainz speak to each other, with Neferia apologizing and confessing his true motives and reason for requesting Ainz. Ainz asks that he keeps it to himself in the meantime, but reassures him that he did nothing wrong. Nabril Gamma understands Ainz' cover was blown because of her actions and offers her life an apology,
Oh my god.
Ainz forgiving her for her mistakes. Later on, near the forest, Ainz thinks of the perfect opportunity to boost his rapport with the group even more by slaying a legendary beast. The wise king of the forest specifically gets lured out into the open by Ainz and is issued a challenge,
Your
and a challenge
comment.
is issued. However, Ainz is left underwhelmed by the beast, simply forcing it to submit to him as its new master. The group returns to Irantel, loot in tow. Ainz breaks off from the rest of the group with plans to catch up later. However, this leaves Neferia and the Swords of Darkness left alone with Miss Clementine, who had been lying in wait for Neferia's return.
Nobody can see. Whenever Matt sends me photos of these, they all have like a little caption about what they are and what episode they come from, and they're just really funny sometimes, and it's great. Thank you for those. What I think I look like versus what I really look like is so good. And new mount
This little
alert is
baby.
the great.
This little
Um,
baby.
so in the anime that we talk about over time on this podcast, we talk about like passage of time and how that can be a factor in some instances, and sometimes it just feels like the same days played over and over again, and just time doesn't feel like it's moving at all. I think it's great that they added this whole thing where Henry has the item to summon the goblins, and how she's been arming or at least teaching the villagers how to get stronger, and for them to never get taken advantage of again, because this is like probably what would happen. I mean,
Mhm.
if somebody has the ability to and sees that, like, oh man, I we have no defenses here, what are we gonna do? And seeing Ain's, like, I don't know, like, be kind of like mention it to somebody. I forgot who you
Nabe,
mentioned to.
because like
Nabe.
Nabe is just like I don't think anything of it, and then he
Yeah.
explains everything and why it's like why he's moved by the fact that they would do their very best to make sure that what happened doesn't happen again. And then she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry for not thinking about it that hard."
Yeah, that which shows me still that he has some humanity left. Later on, I am questioning in episode 8, but in this episode at least, the way that he mentioned that, I was like, "Oh, okay, so he still has some human in him, because he noticed, like, and he understands this is important and this is a big step, and like I'm proud of them, I guess, maybe. Hopefully he thinks that, but I don't know how much he does." Um Llama said, I would love a Clementine backstory short that peeks into the slain theocracy.
Yeah, we like in the last episode, Kaj mentions that like she was once a member of the Black Scripture, the ninth seat, a part of the Slain
Mm-hmm.
Theocracy or something like that, and that she's of hero level. And then like after learning about the Adventurers Guild and like bronze, copper, blah 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 blah, we learned about all the ranks, and then we learned that like there's this tier of just like people above any rank, and that's just like the heroes of this world.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter can't help but continue to liken Ainz to the royal head warrior, um, whose name I'm forgetting, even though it was really cool.
Gazar Gaz
Gazoff,
Gazoff.
Gazaf Stronov.
Gazoff. And
Um,
he never mentions that he does know who he's talking about. He never
exactly,
mentions, like, he's like, oh yeah, well, I mean, I'm kind of better than that guy, but it's fine. He
exactly.
never mentions it at all, but we know, which is
We
really
know.
another really cool thing.
Yes, exactly.
They're like, you're just like this guy. And I was like, I fought with that guy back there, and
I
I
saved
was
his life.
so yeah, I saved his life. But okay, but okay, keep talking. um, man, the devotion
So
here.
and then the whole deal of Henry was the girl that Ein saved originally, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I know what magic is. I have a pharmacist friend who comes to the village sometimes and
Oh,
uses his magic."
and then
And then
bringing it
here you
back.
have it comes full circle. There's like I feel like the further into the show we get, it's like the Chekhov's gun, but like there's
Yes,
Chekhov's gun, there's his coat, there's his hat, there are his gloves, and the show is continuing to like pick those things up in a sensible amount of time to where it's like it's still on your mind, because after a certain
yes.
point like it doesn't matter, like we've moved on, but it's
Mhm.
using it so like efficiently, it's using everything it's setting up like immediately. I noticed that like almost
Somebody
immediately.
Yeah, somebody played something. I guess
Uh,
my things changed.
so that's
Um,
one of these. That's one of the parts of the show that I'm enjoying the most.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it I didn't even think about it whenever she said, "Yeah, I have a pharmacist friend," and then they introduced this whole nother character. So, like, now I want to examine every word now because they don't make it known, but then they flash back to it and they're like, "Hey, remember that one thing we told you?" So that's why now I'm like, "What does this mean? What does this mean? What does all this mean?" Because it might come up later, it might not. But I love that did bring it back full circle, and we find out that this is the person, and then again, Baylor was talking about her, was talking about Aaron, right? And he was talking about it with the group and being like, I really like her, guys. I don't know, man. And it's like, oh, just go talk to her. But then they have this whole relationship already that we understand and that we know without ever seeing them talk. We know they have something there, which is really cool before that whole thing happened. What I was gonna say was like the devotion of these characters to Momonga. Um, Man, that was so quick.
Yeah.
This just happened so quickly. It was just like, "I'll take my life. I'm sorry." And
Yep.
he was like, "No, no, wait. What's
Yep.
happening? Don't do that." Um, what did you think about I'm about to say the anticlimactic wise king of the forest? What did you think about this here? And was it
I
just
mean,
a interesting way to get a character in?
I
Or
I liked it. I liked the way it was handled because like it was one of those things where it's like, well, I know he's just gonna kill the thing. Like,
yeah.
well, like he's gonna kill the thing, and like
Oh,
that's
you're
like my
saying
brain. Like while it's all leading up to it, it's like okay, he's gonna kill the thing, and then
you're
he's gonna become
saying
more
like,
popular.
sure, if it went the way that he expected, it would have been boring. Like
Yeah,
he would have just killed the wise king of the forest and it would have been like, oh, okay, whatever.
yeah.
But the way they did.
Here's its head. I'm so strong. Like we as the audience know he's strong, so that's not something exciting. But oh, why is what did he call it? It's like a
What?
Madagascan hamster or something.
Yeah, or
I
something
forgot the
like that.
specific word. It's like a
Yeah.
specific breed of hamster that this thing is, and like
He's
what
like, he's so
why
big.
so that's more interesting already. Why is it a hamster?
Yeah.
Why is this thing a real world hamster that's super huge? Why is that a thing? Like, is there an answer to that? I don't
I don't
know,
know.
but the way the show has been playing out so far, it makes me think that it's gonna answer that question at some point, or at least, continue to make
Hopefully.
or or continue to at least use him in an entertaining sense. And I love that it's like the wise king of the forest, and he talks in passive voice, just like Yoda.
Yeah,
So it's like,
yeah.
the wise
Very Yoda like.
of the swamp, the wise of the forest, whatever, Dagobah and whatnot. But I
But
just thought that was funny.
sure. And then for him to just have power over certain level monsters, he was like, oh, I have power over this little guy because he's a hamster still.
Yeah,
And
he's still a beast, so he uses a spell Aura of Despair at level 1,
yeah,
which
and he
like
still takes over.
I think about the stat block for it, and it's like it must be different tiers of the spell affects different like oh,
Size or different kinds of monsters or
exactly.
different kinds of
At level
beasts.
1, it's just beasts. At level 2, it's aberrations. At level 3, it's monstrosities, etc. Um,
But
so that
level
was
one,
just
and he
really fun.
takes
Level
over.
1, and he's like, "Oh, he's just a beast."
Yeah.
But
uh,
it also leaves me curious because in the setup for the wise beast, they mentioned that it's a silver creature, yada yada, that can use magic as well. But we don't see him use magic
mm,
yet.
yeah. Lama said, I love that the Wise King of the Forest and Ainz are both these menacing figures that are actually just goofy guys inside.
Yeah,
They just want to be
exactly.
goofy little guys. Yeah. Um, I want a little hamster mount now. That'd be cute. He is cute and it's
He
really
is
cool. And
cute.
I'm
Yeah.
really curious what his power extent is, because apparently everybody thought this was a huge achievement and everybody thought that this was huge. Like, this
Yeah,
is
because
the
he's
Wise
looking at it
King.
like it's a hamster, and then he brings it out, and everybody's looking at it like, "Oh, what?" He's
Yeah.
like,
What
"Don't
is
worry,
that?
he won't lash out." He's like, "Are they really scared of this thing?"
Yeah, because they see it like this. Who knows how the Wise King got the reputation, but they are now the cutest little guy,
This
and he
little
just
guy.
vibing. So he's added to the party. New character unlocked. There we go. And then we get some more of um, Clementine, and I really do like this character. While she is a hero, I don't know if I feel that she can stack up to Ainz yet. Um, in this episode and the next episode, I feel like she's a good bad guy, or an evil
A bad good
person.
guy?
I don't know. I don't think she's gonna be good, but like
A
I just think
bad
her
like
power. I'm talking about power level. I
oh,
still don't see her matching yet, and
why?
her being a threat.
Just because just like
I
say
don't know. I haven't seen
seeing
anything.
what she's capable of so far?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we'll see.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not. Let's talk about episode 8 because we do see more of her wrath actually in this episode.
Episode
Twin
8,
swords of slashing death.
Twin Swords of Slashing Death. After leaving off with Miss Clementine revealing herself, the Swords of Darkness jump to the defense of Neferia, but Kaj also appears, sealing off any chance for escape. After registering the Wise King of the Forest at the guild under the name Hamusuke, Ainz returns to Neferia's house with his grandmother, who he meets Lizzie. However, they find a shocking scene. The Swords of Darkness turned into undead. Each of all. We forgot. Okay. I meant to say this. Sorry.
I just
TW.
realized as
Yeah.
well.
TW for like, I guess, murder and torture. Real quick for this episode's recap. Thank you. The Swords of Darkness turned into an undead, all except for Nina, who is found to have likely been tortured before her death. Ainz offers Lizzie his services in finding Neferia, who is likely to have been kidnapped, and with the help of Nabe, multiple spell scrolls are used in an attempt to gather as much information as possible about the perpetrators. With their sights set, Ainz and Nabe make their way to the graveyard with the knowledge of an army of the undead in waiting for them. Thanks to all the information they gathered, Ainz and Nabe make it to the enemy HQ pretty quickly, and leaving Kaj to Nabe, Ainz challenges Clementine to a fight to the death. She attempts to taunt him over killing his friends. However, he counter-taunts by declaring that he will be giving her a handicap and that he will not fight her seriously, no matter what.
Because that's exactly what she doesn't want. Okay. So this episode, we get Hamusuke, part of the group, whatever. I mean, that's cool. That's cute. I want him to come into play later on for sure. But man, all the other stuff. So the reason why I said that I don't find Clementine to be that much of a challenge as of right now. I mean, she did kill the group,
Sure.
but I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I didn't see them as high level as Ainz at all. Like I
No,
just thought they were normal adventurers, but her being the hero, Ainz could do that too. That's what I'm saying. Like
I
Ainz
see
could
the
have taken down
Swords
the
of
group too.
Darkness as like an average adventuring group that, makes they talk about it how like they make their living. It's dangerous and it's rough, but it's work for them. That's their life. And you have this group that's really solid in structure. But you look at the druid, and the druid looks like he is wise, but he's a little older. The other two, they seem like they're still youthful, but then you have Nina, who they like talk about, still having still being young because she is a talent. We find out that Nina's a girl in this episode too. She's a talent holder, and so she's probably due to become a very powerful caster, but she's not there yet. And as they all jump to defend Neferia, their first response is, Nina, get out of here. Like, you have stuff to do. You have a life that you got to get to. You got to go save your sister that was abducted by rich aristocrats. They just decided to throw that in there for some salt and pepper, some lemon on the wound.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what?
You what?
And then Kaj just like literally and metaphorically seals off any hope for escape.
Sure.
So
So
it's like
against
it
them
sucks.
too.
It sucks that against them, you like, no, she's just gonna wipe the floor with them.
Sure. In the conversation of whether Clementine is able to go against Ainz, that was what I think, that she does
Mhm.
not stack up against him at all. Does not stack up against him at all. But the whole situation was so
Yeah,
like oh, there was a
icky.
weight here. And it was icky because we did spend so much time, and as we know, whenever you spend a lot of time with characters growing and you don't see them like I don't know. I don't know, man.
No, yeah,
It really
it
sucked.
like, you have, the night of the campfire where, like,
They were all
Ainz
hanging
kind of
out.
got under Ainz's bones, and he, like, kind of walked away, but then it shows the next episode the morning after, like, they reconcile, and he's, like, trying to, repair the bridges that might have been damaged, and it's like, "Oh, yeah, I'll let you know when we get back into town," and, like, they're setting up for, like, future encounters and stuff like that, and then you just get the hard stop on these characters' story. So, it sucks, and it's
Yeah.
not fun, but I can't say that I was, completely surprised, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
can't say that.
was. I wanted the group to be his group.
Uh-huh.
I was like preparing for them to be his group and for them to be his new friends. But also the thing that I want to talk about mainly, they came back to life. Ainz did not hesitate to kill them. Did not hesitate.
Yeah,
Well, not kill them, but
no
like
hesitation,
no
as
hesitation.
they re-rose as undead.
Yeah, he
That was
finds
cool.
out Nina was a girl because they said no girls in the group, and
Mhm.
Nina really wanted to be in the group, I guess, at some point. So there was
And
like
that gives me
more
this whole
history
like,
there.
so yeah, there's more history there, and then that gets into like, for me, I start to see like a parallel with like Mulan, where it's like
Yeah,
Nina might, have just not wanted to do like these types of things, but she wants to be able to she wants to get the money to be able to do the things that she needs to do in order to save her sister from the rich aristocrats, or whatever is going on with that
yeah.
plot line.
Whatever's
It gives
happening,
me this whole
that's
Mulan
never gonna
thing.
happen.
Yeah.
Ugh, they got
Yeah.
under Ainz's bones, Matt. New friends, Daddy Ainz runs solo. Okay, so we need to talk about that too. That was the main thing I wanted to get at with this whole scene where he's like, they were like, "Those were your friends, dog," and he was
He's like,
like,
"No,
"I
they were a
have no
stepping
friends."
stone."
And what do you think that is? Was that him being too literal, or was that him losing some of his humanity as he turns undead? Because he does mention, again, we last episode we mentioned that he was going to start losing his humanity. That could be a whole plot point too, because he's turning undead, or his mind's all undead. I think in this episode as well, he mentioned that none of the zombies or the undead are going towards him because he's undead as well. And he's
Correct.
like, I've been undead for weeks or whatever,
Mhm,
and this they don't attack me, or they don't see me.
mhm.
And that's why the hamster is flying over there.
Nabe.
Nabe and the hamster are flying. But like, what do you think that is? Is it him being too literal? Hey, these were just an avenging group I was with. These are not my friends. Or is it him feeling uh not feeling anymore?
Mhm. So you've presented those 2. I'm gonna say it's option number 3, and that he's just trying to get under the skin of somebody who he understands the psychology of, as a player killer,
Okay.
because she's taunting him. She's trying
Mhm.
to get a reaction out of him, and that's exactly why he responds in like by saying, um, they were a stepping stone for me, and that's why your presence is an offense. Like, he still brings it back around that, like, I still hate your guts, but I'm not gonna let you get to me on the level that you're trying to. At least to
Okay.
me, like, and then with the whole like him pulling out all these spell scrolls, Tanabe, use this, and then but before you do that, we're going to use this and this as cover, and then this and this for this. And he's pulling out all these spell scrolls, and he's talking about how he's like, this is all basics from so and so's guide on how to play or kill.
Sure.
And to me, now that we have such a great YouTube audience that leaves comments that gives us manga context, there's probably context being left out here that could also
Oh, for
help us come
sure.
to the proper conclusion as to which one of those 3 it is. But
Yeah.
I want it to be number 3. I want it to be that he's just trying to not let the player killer get under his skin, because he's already in the I've made the move to kill the player killer.
That makes sense, and something that I didn't, you know, think about in that
I want
instance.
it to be that, but I
Yeah,
don't
but
think it's really that.
I just felt really sad when he said it. I
Yeah,
think that's
me
what it
too.
is. I
Yeah.
just felt really sad when it came out of his mouth, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
well, that sucks, man."
Because
Uh,
the more the show goes on, the less we're getting of him, and the
yeah.
more we're just getting of Ainz. We're getting less and less of the internal monologue and more of just what is he doing.
Yeah, he's not talking to himself in his other voice, his little human voice. Lama says, I feel that his insensitivity was due to the disconnect from viewing his current outing as a mission with clear objectives and clear strategies.
Ooh, I like that. I like that one.
Hmm.
They were a stepping stone for me. They were a part of the completion of my objective, which is to gather information and increase my notoriety and
And
spread the
whether they
name of
lived
Haynes.
and whether they lived or died, I was gonna be the one that comes out of this no matter what.
Exactly.
That sucks, but um, I don't know. Maybe I'm too human.
No, yeah.
But it's
He's
just so
undead.
cool.
He's undead.
Yeah, yeah. So we see a lot, some fighting here. Him slashing down the army of the undead, uh, really easily, and
Hmm.
everybody. Okay, so the thing as well that I want to talk about was that everybody mentions his plate. Everybody mentions the copper plate. So this tells me that it's known about the adventuring system, like about the adventuring rank system,
Hmm.
which is really interesting because we're going to see probably somebody have a higher rank at some point. We're going to see, and then we're going to automatically know about them. Like,
Hmm.
oh, this person's a so and so rank. Oh, okay. This is some things we can infer from that. Or this person's still bronze, but he's super powerful, something like that. You know what I mean? We're going to
And
know
then
stuff.
off the back of that, so we understand how people just think of copper plates in a general sense. So off the back of that, you have Clementine giving the full reveal. I should have grabbed a cap of it, but Clementine giving the full reveal that she's like covered in copper plates. That she like this is what she uses as like her crafting material for her armor. Basically, she just be killing and snatching.
Yeah. Over 9,000. But yeah, so that has weight as well whenever we see her armor. That's like, oh, these are people. She is a
Yep.
player killer.
Yep.
This is what he knew she would be, and this is who he's gone against before in Yggdrasil. And now he's gonna face this player killer now. And the way that he's doing it is so cool. I gotta say, it's really awesome. I love the way he's having this mental battle with her, with Clementine, the
Uh-huh.
taunting, the thing, and him knowing what she doesn't want, and how he wants to show
Oh,
how much more
true.
powerful he is.
Thank you. I was literally gonna say that it it there's a certain degree of me like drawing the connection of like, yeah, when you're a high tier player in RuneScape that just leads the player into the PvP grounds for the first time, saying, "Oh, I have a way to get you a really cool set of armor. Just follow me," and then they just turn around and kill you. And it's that this person's living with the capacity that my fun is I ruin everybody else's fun, and so
Sure.
that's what he knows. Ainz knows that that's what she's after. So he's like, I'm not even gonna let her ruin my fun. I'm not even having fun. I'm just gonna step on her like a bug.
Yeah.
This is whatever. I'm here to deal with this offense to existence that got in the way of my master plans.
Which in a video game is the most chaotic evil when somebody is like, I just want to ruin everybody
You're
else's
just
fun.
griefing.
And
Just
yeah,
griefer.
griefing or hacking or something like that. Things like that. And it's like, haha, I'm better than you because of this, and I'm gonna keep making it not fun for you, which
But
sucks. So that's what Clementine
since the
did.
show has set up already with the village attack and stuff like that, the show has set up the weight of death, even though we know Ainz could just pull out a rod of resurrection and raise everybody back up again. He says, you know, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to interfere with the world that way. So we know death is a stake for everybody except for him.
Sure. Yeah. Huh.
So yeah, it just that just adds on to, you know, again, her reveal of seeing all those bronze plates and that's like, you know, he's dealing with a PKer in his like, you know, that's the whole strategy he's going off of. But he's actually, you know, approaching a serial killer in the
Yeah, in
context of
this
this world,
sure, and he doesn't
and the
see it that
serial
way.
kill is bronze plates.
Yeah, for sure. Because in this world, they die. They don't get to restart
There's
at the
no
beginning.
respawn. Yeah, there's
There's no
no you lose
respawn.
500 gold, go back to the starting zone.
So that's why he sees her differently than everybody else,
I
because
would think.
they see that they see her as, like you said, a serial killer, where he's like, oh, this is just a PK,
Hmm.
this is a video game, whatever. Still, he's still in that mindset. I'm pretty sure at some point it's going to be like there's going to be some change to where he's like, oh, this is like his real life now. We haven't had that realization really yet, where he's like, oh, am I going to be stuck here forever? Is this what this is? And this is real life. It's not a video game anymore. I really hope they touch on that. But like next week, we're gonna watch 5 episodes. We're gonna finish the season. So episode 9 through 13 next week. We're gonna watch it. We're gonna finish it out. Next week, we're gonna rate Overlord season 1, and we're gonna tell you whether we liked it or not. What we liked, and we're gonna put it on the list here. We're gonna put it S through F tier somewhere on there. On the left is me. On the right's Matt. That's where we ranked anime in the past that we've done on this podcast. We have an anime chest full of animes to pick from next week, and we have 2 more that we didn't add yet.
Yeah, we need to add the new ones.
What was the? It was. I forgot the 2.
I can't remember.
It was Hell's Paradise
Hell's
and
Paradise.
the Goblin one that Bubsy did. But there's 2 more that maybe added on there.
It wasn't
It'll be
Goblin
S for
Slayer, but it
sure.
was something.
We'll see.
Nobody ever put Goblin Slayer into the chest. That one will not be taken.
Oh, yeah, true. I thought about picking up the manga, and I was like, why did I remember this name from somewhere? And then I remembered. I was like, oh no, never mind. But we're gonna rate it. We're gonna rate the anime. Why not Goblin Slayer? I don't know. Watch episode like 1 or 2 or something. You'll find out. But we're gonna pick a new anime next week, and we're gonna finish off Overlord, and we're gonna. What do you think's coming up? What do you think's gonna happen? How do you see this resolving? What's the resolution?
I don't know. This has been kind of wild, honestly. It's been a show.
What do you want to happen? What do you want them to hit?
Happen? I want to see Hamusuke cast a fireball.
Okay.
That's what I want. Honestly, when he jumped over the fence, I wanted it to cut to him shredding through the skeletons, like with his tail or something.
Yeah.
But then he's just flying on Nabe's back, and I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Give me the new character. No, I don't know. The show has given me so much so far that it's hard to know what I want when it's all just been like good. It's like, just give me more. Just continue to give me more, and I'm okay. Just don't deviate from what everything has been like, been setting up. Continue to pick up the gun and put it down, and the hat, and the continue to do that. I'm loving that stuff. All of the setup and like payoff episodes later on things that seem so throwaway and inconsequential. I am loving that part of the show. I think that's my favorite part so far. What would be like your prediction, or what's your favorite part of the show so far?
I didn't think I would, but I'm really enjoying the dive into the characters. I'm really, while the world is just the backdrop, I'm loving the humanity in the world. The world, we don't know a whole lot about it. We know about the capital city. We know about this little village so far, and we don't know much about anything else. But we know about the people that are living in it, and I think that living, breathing world is so cool to see, and to see characters and find new characters. And I feel fine if they introduce more characters in episode 9 or episode 10, if they even want to do another big bad, if he defeats Clementine and then they're like, oh, but this guy is really bad. Maybe that would be kind of a stretch, but like, I'm fine with them developing characters, and that's been my most the most enjoyable part about this anime for me, is the characters that we get to meet and all this cool stuff. They, I don't know, I'm just cool.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
He's a cool, wild, and crazy guy. But I like the other characters. I'm growing on the other characters, Nabe and his little group. Rest in peace. What are they called?
The
The
Swords of
Swords of
Darkness. Yeah.
Darkness. Man, that's so cool. So, um, what do I hope that they would? I don't know. I hope he feels fear. I want him to feel fear because right now it feels too OP. Because I know what he can do. He's not even doing his full strength. I want him to feel fear by the end of the show and be like, okay. Because up till now, I don't see anything taking him
Urgent.
down.
No sense of urgency
No sense of urgency for him as a
for
person.
him.
But the show's fine. The show's good. But him having the sense of urgency, I need it to happen, and I want him to feel fear. Llama said, I can't wait to
There
rant
is
my theories as you guys watch the later episodes. Yes.
there
That'll be
is
next week.
one line that Peter says in I think it's episode 7. Wow, Mr. Momon, you're really like you're really probably just as strong as the Royal Head Warrior or something like that. And then he says, it really reminds you that there's always somebody out there stronger than you. That's the one line I wanted to make sure I mentioned before we got out of here.
Oof. Like I said last week,
Throwaway line,
I
but
want someone to be I want him to get defeated. I want to see him get defeated, whether for good or like they think he's a bad guy. I don't know. Matt, where can they find you when you're not watching Overlord on the internet?
when we're not watching or talking about Overlord, you can find me on my Twitch at Matt_Galley when I have the wherewithal to actually go live. I'm there. That's where you
Are
can
you going
find me.
live today?
Probably, maybe.
Not.
We'll see, like
It's okay.
always.
I haven't been live
And you can
either.
also find me on any of my socials, just at an ITS at ITS Matt_Galley. When we're not here, where can the people find you?
Jules the Human, Jules the Human on Twitch right here. If you're watching, youtube.com/Jules the Human, x.com/Jules the Human, Threads, Jules the Human, Instagram, Jules the Human, JULES. It's all right there. You can watch this show. If you missed any of the show, you can watch this on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jules the Human. I upload it the next day. So if you watch it on YouTube, that's where, or if you want to watch the whole show or any of the other shows we've already done, if you want to go back in our catalog and see all the other anime that we've already watched, you can go and watch it on my YouTube or on Spotify. Just look up the Jules and Matt Anime Hour as you see it right here, the Jules and Matt Anime Hour, and we should pop up on Spotify. You can watch there as well, not just listen. You can watch the video over there. But I'm super excited for the end because I want to see what happens, but also a new beginning next week because we're going to be picking a new anime after we're done with
New
Overlord.
anime.
So yeah, hope y'all have a good week, and we'll see y'all next week. Talk more Overlord.